All right, y'all know how it is when this bump plays. I just kind of let it roll for a while because I can't. Well, actually, I can't. Terry can turn it off if he wants to, or whoever may be running the board. But I like that bump a lot, so I like to let it roll. Good afternoon. You're listening to the postgame show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, live inside the Herndon Chevy Studios, where Bill Gunner has once again turned the room into a kiln.
Just say.
It is current. Bless his heart.
Hey, can you make me an ashtray? Well, can you do me a favor, make me an ashtray while you're in there?
Yeah, I'll do my best.
Yeah, take it to my
81
stepmom.
degrees in here, man.
I know.
81 degrees.
Well, you've seen him. I mean, he probably I think Tyler weighs more than Gunner now.
Well, he might, but
Gunner's whittled away. Remember, Gunner before he became, skinnier. Gunner was always cold.
Sure. Yeah. He wears a quarter zip on a regular basis. And that's
so now
fine.
there's less of him, so he's colder.
I got no problem with that. If you're watching on YouTube, by the way, I miss one day, and it's
everything goes to hell.
I mean, the headphones are way too loud. There's 2 pairs of headphones sitting here. But I'm back. Thanks for letting me go for a couple of days. My youngest daughter graduated high school. The whole family was around, coming in from 3 different states and all kinds of stuff, man. We got that done. Now she's gone for 2 weeks. She's gallivanting all over the Southeast.
Doing her graduate thing, man.
Yeah, so.
I buy a question. Just be ready. Now, I got a question. Do these bail bondsmen take, PayPal?
Here's the thing, man. Like, of my 4, I assure you, with every fiber of my being, this is the one that doesn't get in trouble.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, that could mean to some people, oh, well, then you're due for the dam to burst.
Right.
But really, I'm really not worried about that with her.
It's funny that all my kids are lame compared to the stuff we did when we were growing up.
Mine are too.
They're just lame.
I think about some of the things that they've gotten in trouble for, and I'm like,
don't you walk out of the room and go, really? Seriously, that's it?
At least try to get in trouble.
Come on now. But yeah, mine are lame. I'll tell you one real quick. My oldest, when he was in 5th or 6th grade, got detention.
Yeah.
And hell, the detention room was named after me. So nice. I always spent time in detention, man.
You got to leave a legacy.
I left a legacy of detention.
That's good, man. You got your picture up there.
You have alumni come in and speak to the class. I just spoke to the detention kids.
The 2019 Terry Ford Detention Award winner is.
So my son gets detention, right? Ready? Here's how lack of any kind of weasel self-logic he has. He brings it home, right? He wants to get rid of it. Don't want me to see it.
Yeah.
He decides to throw it away, Jay.
Sure.
In the house, on top of the garbage.
Oh, it does say in the trash.
In the trash. Right on top.
Like, no, that's why I have a fireplace.
It's like, A, you're a dope. Rip it up and throw it away in some dumpster on the way home.
Yeah. Feed it to the neighbor's dog.
Right. Do not throw it in the kitchen garbage can in the house.
I like it. Well,
so my kids are lame when it comes to your point of getting in trouble, just like yours. Okay, which one of your 4 would be the worst?
I'm not going to answer that question.
I want to hear that. I want names on this,
I'm not going to answer that question, but
I told you this. My daughter called me from college, her freshman year. I think our second week. Dad, guess what I did last night? What? I did my first keg stand. It was so cool.
Yeah, that's good. Just don't do it in front of a cop.
Exactly. I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
I did my first keg stand when I was in 9th grade, but that's okay.
Yeah, now I might have waited a little longer to do that. But anyway, back in the saddle, ready to go. Short day today, mildly short day today. We have Gamecock baseball coming your way at 5:15, scheduled for a 5:30 first pitch. Right now, the game prior just started, though. Kentucky and Vanderbilt are only in the top of the first because what ended up being the final of that Missouri game, man?
10-8,
Mizzou. Okay, yeah, I know they scored a lot of runs. I didn't see the final. But Kentucky has just gone in front of Vandy. But, again, they just started this one.
Yeah.
But we'll get you caught up on what's going on over in Hoover. Carolina and Tennessee coming up next. Winner gets Arkansas. The winner of this game being played now will get Florida, and the nightcap this evening is LSU and Oklahoma, with that winner seeing Auburn. The top 4 seeds, Georgia, Texas, A&M, and Alabama, don't play until Thursday and Friday.
Yep.
So it's with 16 schools in the league, it behooves you to be a top 4 seed. You get a lot
absolutely
of rest.
get that double bye.
A lot of rest.
Probably, I mean, the situation we'll get is we will go to network at 5:15. They'll do their setup and pregame for Carolina and Tennessee, and then we might get some bonus coverage.
Yeah, some bonus
of
SEC
Kentucky
coverage. Or maybe this will be a
Vanderbilt.
pitcher's duel, Terry. You never know. I mean, it's 1-0 right now, but maybe that'll be
Let's
it.
hope.
Maybe
Let's
that'll
hope
be it.
at 5:14, Jay, they're wrapping that baby up.
We'll find out.
We'll see.
Jack Veltri is in Hoover. He'll join us coming up bottom of this hour. We'll talk a little bit about today's game and a path that Carolina has to at least try to play a couple. They do have Brandon Stone on the hill today, so that's good news for Carolina. We knew over the weekend that Monty wanted to shift things up just a little bit in terms of the rotation and pitcher usage in an effort to try and make something of the opportunity this week. And nobody's here to tell you, oh, hey, listen, if everything goes Carolina's way. I mean, look, is there a chance? I have no idea what the metric computers would give Carolina as an opportunity. I'm guessing like less than 1%.
Probably.
To win this thing. But, you want to have a good showing. And then let's face it, this is an event that South Carolina baseball seemingly, at least, rarely does well in. That's just been the reality over the last couple of decades. Carolina just doesn't do well in Hoover for a variety of reasons. But nevertheless, we'll get into that. But Jack will also have some thoughts on what's going on around the Gamecock baseball coaching search. It feels like, and I wasn't here yesterday, I know you covered some of this, and I know you had Monty on where you weren't asking him directly these kind of questions. But I know you had John Whittle on yesterday, too. But it feels, Terry, like we're seeing Jeremiah Donati, at least I said Jeremiah because he's not going to speak officially on this, but we know who's in charge of the search. Maybe whittling down those names and zeroing in on a couple, and it's almost beginning to feel like Kevin Schnall at Coastal and Dan Fitzgerald at Kansas are, I don't even want to say 1-2. It almost feels like maybe a 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
I think Monty is in the mix. The reason I like, in fact, I love what James Ramsey has done for Georgia Tech to have 40 wins in his first season, to have 25 conference wins, I think, is amazing. But it's year one.
Right. That's my point. It's year one. You're being handed someone else's program, and you're really running with someone else's players still, even in a transfer portal era. If he was in year 4 or 5 doing this kind of thing, or year 3, or maybe heck even year 2.
And I don't even. I know what you mean. I'll give you that, and I'll just say, but it's also like he just got there. I mean, it's kind of like Kevin Schnall last year interviewing for the Tennessee job. It's like you just got there. So to your point, can you keep doing it? And
That's
then for his point, I just got here. Like, do I owe my current employer a little more time?
Now,
I mean, it's.
I'll say this. I think if you've taken a job and someone has hired you, and a year in, someone else wants to hire you, if you've ever lived that scenario, obviously it's a personal preference thing, right?
Yeah.
For me, I've always thought, maybe this is, I don't know, maybe I'm just not the brightest guy in the world. I've always balanced that if somebody wants to hire you, and obviously everything always depends on a contract situation, blah, blah, blah. But here's my thing, what you just said. You know, these people did hire me, and they hired me to do a job, and you always want to leave something better than when you got there. And when they hired you, they probably didn't think in a year you go, hey, thanks for everything. I got to go buy.
And does your next should you leave? And look, again, we're talking very hypothetically.
Sure.
So we all can understand that. But if I'm hiring somebody who's been on the gig for a year
and is willing to come to my gig,
and next year, let's just say for the sake of the discussion, and I'll throw out a specific, only even if I'm still being hypothetical. But let's say Dave Van Horn retires. Well, Arkansas just opened, or let's say Jim Schlossnagle says, you know what? I've made a bunch of money, and me and the missus want to go tour, Tahiti and Bikini Islands, and I'm out. And Texas opens up. Well, I mean, and while in the process next year, you also do big things. Now, again,
I know.
Hypothetical.
Basically, it's if you leave them to come here in a year, will you leave me in a year to go somewhere else?
Yeah, and so
Right.
and look, Kevin Schnall's only in year 2. I think Dan Fitzgerald's only in year 4.
Yeah, and I'm with you on this, and that's why I like going back to the idea of just in your own world, have you ever had this scenario? I also think, and it sounds dumb, I think when someone hires you, and let's say they give you a multi-year contract,
Mm-hmm.
and then after year one, someone else wants to hire you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were hired in a multi-year contract situation, so these people weren't expecting you to leave in a year. And you've had a good year and it's all successful. And this is a personal preference to everyone, right?
Right.
My thing, when I sit and make a decision like that, I'd be like, well, you know what? I came here to do a job. They hired me to do a job not for 1 year. How much do I like it here? How good are they to me? How much do I feel like a tinge of loyalty toward them, at least for, I don't know, the completion of my contract, or maybe just maybe another year? I think all that comes into play. Now, I'll give you a guy. You remember Todd Graham, the head college football coach? He got that reputation, job hopper guy.
Right.
And now he's not coaching anywhere.
Right.
And I think if you're going to be job hopper person, you better be really good, Jay.
Yeah.
Because you know what you're going to do? You're going to stop getting offered jobs.
Or you better be really good at putting money in the bank or buying the right stocks or something like that, just in case.
Because let me ask you this, I'm going to put it on you now. You're the hiring guy.
Uh-huh.
Here's a guy that has been at a job for a year, and then all of a sudden you hear the back channel agent wants to say your guy might be interested. That's going to go through your mind.
It is, but look, if I'm, I don't want to be specific about it, but if that scenario comes up, and I'm hiring somebody who's coming from a big program in a good conference, and he's only been there a year, but I really believe in him, then the first thing I'm doing is making sure that the buyout on my side is significant.
Make them protect yourself, A, and B, make them really have to shell out some serious dollars.
Significant.
I think that's a great way to look at it from the hiring perspective. Yeah. I just think a year in, well, like we talked about Pollard. Chris Pollard leaves Duke. He's only been at Virginia for a year. You and I liked him and Walter a ton 2 years ago.
I would have hired Chris Pollard.
And
if I was the hiring guy you just mentioned, I would have hired Chris Pollard. I love Tom Walter, but I'd have hired Chris Pollard.
I was a Walter guy. You and I flip-flopped it. I'd have taken Walter first, Pollard second. You'd have taken Pollard first, Walter second.
Yes.
But we like both of those guys. But now Pollard just went to Virginia for a year.
Yeah.
And so, again, to that point of the conversation. I don't know if Tom Walter still wants
your job.
And
even though he did 2 years ago.
His name barely came up in this thing in the beginning, and now you've heard crickets.
Right.
And it might be because of how that went. Because you remember, you and I heard this, that there was smoke that he was even willing to put money toward the buyout at Wake to come here. He was wanting to have this job.
And I got that from people up his way.
Yeah. So
did others, but
yeah.
I got it. So I got it on my own from people up that way. Yeah.
For him with everything here, and maybe that's why, or maybe they've looked at him like, well, dude, you're not doing as good as you were then. Your teams aren't, and I don't agree. I just think Wake Forest doesn't have NIL money. I just don't think they got the money the big dogs have. But anyway, to your point, a guy's been somewhere a year now, like Pollard. He's not ready to go jump.
No, and he's taken the program, taken over a program rather.
It's really
that
good.
Will put
spends money
into it.
in Virginia.
Virginia cares about their baseball. But we'll talk more about Carolina's search.
I'm with you with the two guys.
Yeah, I want to come back around to that before we talk to Jack, and then we'll set some things up for what we're going to discuss with Jack at 3:30. A couple other quick things that we'll get to throughout the day. The NCAA is being hit on three sides today in some form or fashion. There's the Brendan Sorsby lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
There is the R.J. Luis situation in basketball. And if you don't know about that, that's the former Big East Player of the Year who went pro for a year, didn't get into the NBA, but now wants to come back and play for LSU. Surprise, surprise.
He did two-way contract, G League stuff.
And the SCORE Act, which you probably have heard at least something about in Washington, is for all practical purposes in this legislative year dead.
Well, we're really shocked about that.
It's not completely dead, but for now, it's on life support.
Yeah.
Now, again, it can be reintroduced, but it ain't happening anytime soon. And we knew this was coming.
No, we knew this.
We knew this was coming.
We were not. We knew this thing was never going to.
We'll touch on those things for you. Some more around the Gamecocks to get to. Since I wasn't here yesterday, a little touch on what's going on with men's basketball. We got some Braves news. It's not good, and that doesn't include getting beat 12-0. So that and a whole lot more for you. But on the other side, back to more discussion of the next Gamecock baseball coach. You're listening to the postgame show. Welcome back in. 20 minutes after 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. Jay and Terry with you. Jack Veltri in just a few minutes. He is at the Hoover Met. Again, Gamecocks are in Game 3 today, scheduled for 5:30. But that may not happen. We are in the top of the second in Game 2. Kentucky leads Vandy 1-0. Nobody on, 1 out. But again, just top 2. So 5:15 is airtime with Derek and Cade. And we'll see exactly where
every time I look up, people are getting base hits, Jay.
Well,
That's
if it
not
stays,
good.
I was going to say, if it stays roughly like this, you never know. You never know. But I anticipate later a lot of pitching changes. So
I want to see this ABS thing happen. And I heard it happen earlier. Somebody went for it earlier and they didn't get the challenge. Did you see Salvador Perez last night, the Kansas City Royals? 2 pitches in a row, and he got them both. And then on the next pitch, the umpire looked at him like, "You want to do another one?" Pretty good. I love this thing. Now, you know what's so funny? Every now and then we get like big guests to come in. Just unannounced. They just show up, big wigs, high-level administrators,
and then
players, sometimes dudes like Mike Uva just pop in.
That's right. But he's here.
You beat me to it.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. You set me up. I know. We set each other up for that one. And we got to treat him different.
Well, now that's the thing, because we were sitting here talking to him when he came in, and I was like, hey, "Come on, man, jump on, let's have a little fun." And of course, you go, "We got to talk to him different. He's an administrator now.
He's one of them.
Yeah, he's not one of us anymore. One of those scumbag media people.
Corporate Mike is what I tell Wes.
His hair looks different. He's got makeup on now. He walks around with different clothes.
No, he doesn't have makeup on now.
I look ugly.
Yeah, he doesn't have makeup on
for all those TV years.
No,
he does look different. You were a lot better looking when you were in TV.
How's how's somewhat Coastal as an employer? But how's somewhat Coastal Life treating you? Because
I'll tell you what, the biggest thing in people that have lived out that way. You get back into Columbia, holy cow, that humidity, it punches you.
Yeah.
I mean, I was with Chance Miller last night at the...
When did you start? Seriously, when was your first?
My first week was the second week of September because I had covered the Patriots and they lost to the Raiders.
Right.
And as soon as I leave, they decide to go back to the Super Bowl.
I'm just going to tell you, yes, humidity here, okay? I'm just going to tell you, you haven't had a full summer yet. In Myrtle Beach. In Conway, Myrtle Beach, okay? Having lived there and worked there for 2 summers, and my wife is from Ori, I promise you, my man. I promise you.
But it can't be worse than this.
Well,
I mean, I was in Columbia for like a decade.
It's bad here, but like where you are, you're going to be like, I thought there was an ocean. And then, because there is.
When that day does come, which but I'm assuming it will.
The thing is, after what I have learned is that after about a mile inland, the ocean no longer really does anything to you.
It does not matter.
It's just like, again, you'll be like, I thought there was an ocean. And you're like, oh, no, it is. It's over there.
You know what I think happens? I think the sand just blocks everything, and all of a sudden
it's at the waterway and the first row of trees after like any type of marsh, any type of, anything. It's just like, but...
I mean, but to be honest, he looks like beachy healthy now, doesn't he?
You playing a lot of golf? Or
look at him.
Shoot, and Kent Riker can tell you this from being the communications, the SID for baseball here for many, many years, and then going back to the days when he was actually at Coastal as the SID for baseball. Baseball is a different animal. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm getting married this weekend, I would be in Montgomery. I've been with the baseball team, practically all year. There's been some road trips that I haven't made the trip out with. But, I mean, I'm with baseball every day. You don't get days off. I mean,
nope, 7 days a week.
I was listening to Bill Belichick do a podcast, and he's talking about the no days off. But, no, there is no days off. And, speaking about Kent, I want to congratulate the Finksmeister. I saw Finker last night.
I know, how about it?
Those guys and what they do. I mean,
it's still hard for me to believe he's been here 21 years, man. Because it sometimes seems like, just the other day,
I'll tell you what, because I've had this conversation with Brian Glenn. I said, a bartender, you could write a book. I mean, like the stories you hear. Fink, some of these SIDs that have been along a long, long time, the stories they can tell, and I don't know like how many years you have to wait. Because imagine the stories he could tell about being around Spurrier. My goodness.
I know. Yeah. Well, I was getting ready to say, and you started it. Now you have even more appreciation for Fink and Kent and all those guys. Now you've been on the other side of this.
No question. It's a different beast, and obviously me. I mean, I'm going through it for everything's the first time, and we're going to be adjusting it in a way where it's more modern, and that's the way that Chance sold me on it. But at the end of the day, there's still nuts and bolts stuff that you're going to have to do. And we have a great department, but no, it's been great learning. And Patrick Osborne, who was over here for many years, and that's another person that Chance brought over to Coastal. He's been great to learn from as well. So it's I'll tell you what, though, when you do something that you've been doing for a decade, then you do something that's different, it will humble you real quickly.
No doubt.
Real quickly.
Well, I'm glad things are going well. And, look, that Coastal Athletic Department, I've watched it from afar for years. I can still remember, going back more than 20 years when they were almost, and I mean this in a good way, not in a picking on them way, they were begging to play Carolina in football. And there were some who were associated with this school here in Columbia that were just not going to let that happen as Coastal was trying to grow the brand. And this is before you ever got to Columbia. And I still remember when they finally got the game scheduled, and then it took a couple of years to actually play it. And it was the year Coastal was going to the playoffs. And Coach Moakley was like, we're going to the playoffs next week.
And you know what the crazy thing about that is? So obviously South Carolina and Coastal, they play this year in football. You know who signed the contract for that game?
Probably either Will or Spurrier.
It was Chance.
That
game was supposed to be played that COVID season. And Chance was the one that signed it for South Carolina. Matt Hogue, the old AD for Coastal, signed it. And because of that, they said, hey, we'll get back. We'll play this game one day. And that just happened to be the year that they played. It was this past season. But it's funny because if you look at that contract, Chance Miller, the AD of Coastal, his name is under South Carolina.
That's funny. That's funny.
That is cool.
By the way, speaking of golf real quick, if you ever want to be humbled, I assume it's still as difficult as it used to be. But there's a course right near y'all's campus.
You're talking about like a mini golf course? There's like 70 of them. That will humble me.
Yeah, well, maybe. But no, it's called The Witch. You've ever driven by The Witch?
I haven't gone by The Witch.
It's over your way,
sure
not
I've
too
seen
far.
It.
But that'll be one that humbles you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
gotta work my way up.
I mean, we're burying the lead here. The man's getting married this week.
Well, we
potentially she still has 5 days.
That's what we told him. We told him off air that she's got just a few days left to.
When Yuva had, remember when we had Mike here, when we had the fiance in and everything when he did the proposal.
And didn't Shane help out with that? Or at
and
least
Shane was there for it.
I'm getting a notification that Wes Mitchell has put a crystal ball in saying that Brooke is going to flip now. So,
what is it? The recruiting prediction machine, the RPM, or whatever it is. Which I've asked before how that exactly works.
I'll tell you what. Working all those years at On3, I still don't know how it works. I still don't know how it works.
And it's usually right. That's the thing about it. Well, it's great to see you, and you've brought us a gift here for the studio, an actual Gary Gilmore. So you've delivered us a baseball coach from Conway.
That's exactly what you guys were looking for. Right?
Those watching on YouTube there you go. There's Coach Gilmore.
That's what you guys were asking for, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's exactly
there it is.
A coach delivered from Coastal.
And we'll spare Mike any questions
we will not do
about the current baseball coach.
We're going to be
and how that may be going. We'll leave that to him and his boss.
That's right. We'll put Mike in a bad position because we like Mike.
Not going to do that to him.
We like him. He's our guy. He's still one of our people.
Yeah. So even though he's no longer one of us,
I'll say this. All I'll say is this: after being on the other side of it for a decade, all the Twitter malarkey. I'll try to keep this PG.
It's good.
Thank you. You don't hear malarkey as much.
No, it's a nice word.
I've heard malarkey's my Aunt Beulah. That's good.
But especially once we get to this point. I mean, I would always say this as a reporter, too, and I had lunch with Wes Mitchell today. Don't get caught up with everything that happens on social media. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is...
Bro, that's advice for the planet.
Oh, well, because, I mean, let's face it. South Carolina's playing today in baseball, and, I got nothing but respect for Monty Lee. And whenever the season does end, I mean, naturally, as a reporter, what would happen? Everyone's going to start doing their big boards and all that kind of stuff. So, there's a lot of great reporters in this town. You guys know which ones to follow. But just because some, ham and egger that has...
A
jabroni is posting something online saying, this is what I'm hearing, at one of the local establishments having a cold one at 2 a.m. That doesn't necessarily, which ironically, that's where I got a lot of my information back in my 20s.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Good to see you, man. Congrats on the wedding.
Great. Like I told you,
thank you. I appreciate you.
Good to have you back in.
It is wonderful to be here because that's a big step. So thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll holler at you soon.
Absolutely. That's
Mike Yuva, now an associate AD at Coastal. His former colleague, Jack Veltri, on the other side, live from Hoover. You're listening to the postgame show. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to clear my throat before the live read while the microphone was on.
That wasn't part of your live read?
Yeah, no, that was my fault.
Right.
Sorry. I'm still new at this. Still getting back
Getting
in
the dust off.
But you know who's not new at this when it comes to your home theater systems? It is our good friends at Integrated Media. They are the best at what they do. And now is a fantastic time. If you have been dreaming of a home theater system because you love football, or any other sport, or your favorite movies. Maybe you love big sci-fi action films, or your kids want something, or you want to just have a whole house where you can have one room doing one thing, one room doing another, and still all sound and look great. Integrated Media makes that happen for you. How about integrating, yes, that's what they do, security, lights, thermostat, all onto one app that you can control from anywhere that has an internet signal. Or you can do it outdoors and enjoy the same type of quality right there. Indoors, outdoors, one room, whole house, 803-948-8327. Trust me, nobody better at home theater than Integrated Media. .334 here on a Tuesday afternoon. Welcome back in. Good to see Mike Yuva. Glad he could hang out for a minute. As we said, his former colleague and our colleague now, our current colleague, and terrific beat reporter for Gamecock Central, the one and only Jack Veltri, live at the Hoover Met. And I know he's there because he sent out the picture of the big old Christian Walker banner a little while ago.
Nice.
So
Very
that's
nice.
that's proof positive
this.
that Jack is over there.
All right, so in the last few years, Wes Mitchell got married, engaged and married.
And he's a dad.
Mike Uva will be married this weekend.
Yep.
Veltri has gotten engaged in the last few weeks.
That's right. Betrothed.
Chris Clark's been married for, 30, 40 years?
Not quite as long as me, but yeah, he's been in it for a bit.
What's up with you on three guys, man? I'm telling you. What's up with you people? What's going on over there, Veltri?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What's going on?
It's in the contract.
Are you saying it's a bad thing to get married and have kids and all this stuff?
For everyone without the last name Ford, it's a great idea.
says the father of four. So there's that. Jack, we may or may not get to Carolina starting on time today. Kentucky up 2-0 in the third inning now over at the Hoover Met. But we know Monty wanted to shift things up a little bit for today and have Brandon Stone be ready to go, and he is. Look, we're not going to sit here and pump sunshine up anyone's backsides when it comes to Carolina's opportunity this week, but that word, opportunity, does at least come up. Is the team, from what you could gather after a disappointing weekend in Nashville, up for any type of, dare I ask, challenge based on the body language we've seen the last couple of weeks?
Hey, it's very up and down, Jay. I mean, if you listen after that game on Tuesday and, Monty's talking about how this is not Carolina baseball. This is not, the standard. We need to compete. And then, over the weekend, he's telling me just about how much more competitive they've looked. So, it's felt like at times this team has quit and given up, but then you have this past weekend where they're down 7-0 to Vanderbilt and they come back and score 5 runs. So, quite honestly, I can't give a yes or no answer just because it's very inconsistent. I think the first few innings of this game today will really tell us which direction this game is going to go and, what kind of spirit this team plays with. Because if they go down 5-0 the first 2 innings and they're striking out a bunch, then they might be down in the dumps. But if they come out here close early and Brandon Stone gives them a chance, well, then they might, really play hard and try to win this thing.
All right, buddy, Jack Veltri at Hoover covering South Carolina in the SEC tournament. Again, coverage starting at 5:15 this afternoon against Tennessee, roughly, here on the game. Jack, you touched on kind of where I wanted to take this. And you're right, things are up and down. One game, they look like they're all ready just to get the hell out of town. The next day, they, scratch back from a 7-0 deficit to make a game close. But, we were sitting upstairs in my palatial office today, and we were just kind of going, because, the losers of 12 straight. We're like, where did this thing go off the rails? I mean, they had won, going into after they won the second game of the Kentucky series, South Carolina had won 7 of 10. And they haven't won a game since. I know they blew that Sunday game against Kentucky where they had a chance to sweep. Where have you felt that the air went out of this thing, Jack, to where we see 12 losses in a row? Was it that Kentucky game? Was it that midweek with Citadel? Was it going to LSU, a team that lost 9 straight conference games, and have them skull kick you 3 times in Baton Rouge? Or is it somewhere else where this thing, it just felt like this thing got to where it is?
To be honest, I kind of think it's that Mississippi State series. I think that's the one where you just swept Missouri. Even though it did not seem maybe likely, you felt like, okay, you have a few weeks here to get your stuff together. Go out here, take a series from a struggling Mississippi State team that had just gotten swept 2 weekends in a row, and maybe you can really salvage your season and go on a postseason run. At least that was the thought. And even the Kentucky series, I feel like there was probably still a little bit of hope after you won that series. But I think that Mississippi State series kind of swung things a little bit to where, man, you just got swept by a team that really was down in the dumps. And that was their get-right weekend, and Mississippi State's playing a lot better baseball now. So, I think that's definitely the one. Lately, though, obviously, I think that Kentucky game, you didn't – look, you blew that game, obviously. It wasn't one you necessarily needed to have because you already won the series, but make no mistake, that game was another one where it's just like, man, how'd you lose that game? There's a lot of those this year, but I think the Mississippi State series back in after Missouri there was definitely a tough one to swallow.
Jack, let's turn our attention now in the last few minutes we have. You got where people and their minds are, and that's who's going to run this program next. I know nationally from y'all's website, Pete Nakos is reporting that perhaps Kevin Schnall and Dan Fitzgerald from Coastal and Kansas, respectively, are the top two candidates. James Ramsey feels like at Georgia Tech, maybe an outside shot. Only been in Atlanta for a year running that program. Not that he couldn't do it, but maybe the other two make more sense for different reasons. Is there anything else you're hearing? Do you, as someone who covers this program and knows people around it, you feel like Schnall and Fitzgerald seem to be emerging above others?
I would say so. I would say maybe I'd put it as like I don't know if put it as a 1A, 1B sort of thing, but I kind of feel like those are the two guys. And, honestly, the more you hear, the more you think. I mean, I don't think they're going to go down the assistant route. I just don't think that's the direction this program needs to go, nor does it sound like that's the direction they want to go. The understanding is that they want a guy that's a proven winner, and you look at Schnall, Ramsey, Fitzgerald, they kind of all fit that billing, especially a guy like Fitzgerald who, is taking Kansas to winning the Big 12 regular season title and, very likely could or will be, a regional host this year. So, those are definitely the two guys to keep an eye on. I'm not as so sure about Ramsey. I think he's definitely a guy that's going to be on the hot boards and whatnot, but, is it realistic? And also, it kind of does worry me, just from my personal opinion. I don't know. I mean, look, he's a first-year head coach. There's a little bit of risk involved in that because, unlike Fitzgerald at Kansas, who took over a terrible situation, Ramsey was handed the keys to a nice-looking car. So, and he's won 45 games this year and has managed not to crash it. So, I kind of wonder how a guy does that doesn't come from he comes from a great situation and, hasn't had to rebuild a program before like a Fitzgerald has. So, but yeah, I would definitely say, Schnall, Fitzgerald, definitely those two guys to keep an eye on. And I wouldn't rule out, still, I know no one's going to like to hear it, but I still wouldn't rule out a guy like Monty. I feel like he will, ultimately end up getting an interview. We'll see how that goes. And, we've seen, Jamie Bradford talk to him, and he laid out his vision for the program, which is, it's very interesting to hear Monty's perspective on things. So, we'll see. But, yeah, I mean, those probably are some of the top guys to keep an eye on.
Hey, Jack, in our last minute, when we all started this conversation, it feels like that Paul Mainieri was let go at least 3 years ago. But when we started this conversation, we were like, got to get a guy who's been to Omaha, who's got a resume of excellence, all these other things. And no offense to who we see now, Kevin Schnall went last year, his first year at Coastal, but Fitzgerald, 1 year in the SEC at LSU. Like I said, Ramsey's a newbie. We hear some other names. Are you surprised that we haven't heard one of Kevin O'Sullivan's name keeps popping up if he leaves Florida, but are you surprised that we haven't heard any of those quote-unquote big kind of resume guys could be available for South Carolina, and we're looking at guys who obviously could be really good, but they don't have that list of accomplishments like some others?
I think it depends on how you look at it. Like, do you necessarily need someone that has won in Omaha? No, not necessarily, because, I mean, shoot, for everyone wanting Schnall, I mean, the guy, in all truth, he hasn't won a national championship. So, proven winner can mean a lot of different things ultimately. Like, I think there's, the list of candidates that I've got put together, a few of them maybe have been to Omaha, maybe one or two of them has won a national championship, but, like, you're anything with South Carolina, you're going to have to rebuild, I think, at the start of this. It's going to take a few years for this program to get right. So while, yes, you need a proven winner, you need someone that can create stability in this program and just get it back on track. That's the first step with this whole thing, because you can't go to Omaha without going to a regional and going to a super. So you got to start somewhere, but, definitely having a proven winner helps in that. But you've also got to have someone that's ready to recruit and ready to, rebuild this program.
Good stuff as always, sir. We appreciate you, especially on short notice. Enjoy Hoover, maybe for a little while. We shall see. We'll holler at you down the line.
I appreciate it, fellas.
That's Jack Veltri. Catch his work every day at Gamecock Central here on the airwaves of 107.5 The Game, and Jack T. Veltri on the Twitters. All right, lots more to do. Terry opens the vault on the other side. It's the postgame show. 3:49 Tuesday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Thanks again to Jack Veltri for joining us. Appreciate Jack's time. He is in Hoover covering the baseball game. Carolina and Tennessee opening round of the SEC tournament, the play-in round, basically. Because this is a single elimination day in Hoover. Then if you win, you're into the double elims. So Carolina, Tennessee, scheduled, as we've said all day, for 5:30. But right now, the game between Vandy and Kentucky, game 2 of the day, is 2-0 Kentucky, bottom 3. Vandy is the home team, so they are hitting 1 on, 2 out. Bottom 3.
I'm going on a limb here.
Yeah,
I'm not going to see a 5:30 first pitch.
Unless
I'm a bit crazy.
Unless the two pitchers
things
really
change.
start going.
Things change rapidly.
That's right.
Unless they do. If they do, great. But not looking good.
Yeah.
Not looking good.
By the way, and I'm hiding it well, but my nerves are completely shot as we speak because my favorite soccer team, Arsenal, has a chance to win the Premier League today, even though they're not playing. They won yesterday. Manchester City is playing right now. A Manchester.
How many
City,
goals they have to score or goal differential?
Nope. Today they're playing a team called Bournemouth, led by great American Tyler Adams, and it's at Bournemouth. Bournemouth is leading 1-0 at this point, 1-0 as they say across the pond. A City loss or draw means Arsenal are champions of the Premier League.
There you go.
If City win, then it's going to go down to the last day, where Arsenal still just has to win.
Right.
Arsenal does control their own destiny.
It's not none of this goal differential stuff's going to come into play if they win.
Shouldn't. It could. It still could. It still could on the last day of the year, but and that would be bad for Arsenal, I think. Yeah. Right now, I think.
They score a lot of goals.
Yeah. They not this year. Not this year. They have the best defense in Europe. But anyway, so right now I'm in good shape.
Yeah. Good
and
for
there
you.
are it's about a half hour left. So as we're trying to talk about stuff,
You're doing well,
if out of nowhere I either go like or or I just go silent because you're talking to me and I didn't hear you.
Yeah, because you weren't paying attention.
At least you know why. At least you know.
Yeah.
So there's that.
That's okay, but my
And one day maybe on this date in a few years you can open the vault. And it'll be the day that Arsenal won the Premier League.
Or when they choked away the Premier League.
Well, they won't be today. No, they can't choke it today.
No, they can't choke it away
today?
today?
No, they can't choke it away today.
Good. All right.
So that can't happen until Sunday. That's not going to happen, Terry Ford.
You know what? My son's rooting against you. Anyway.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about that.
Yeah.
But then I find out he doesn't even pull for anybody.
He just was a hater. He's supposed to be a hater.
Yeah.
All right. This day, we always like, so there's we could do a ton on today.
Okay.
This day, 1935, the NFL adopted this thing called the annual college draft to begin in 1936. Too bad that thing didn't really take shape and get popular. First pick in that 1936 draft, the Heisman Trophy winner, Jay Berwanger of the University of Chicago.
How about that, huh?
How about that guy? Yep, so 1935, the NFL draft was adopted.
There you go.
1962, some dude named Stan Musial breaks Honus Wagner's National League hit record with hit number 3432.
Wow.
That is he is one of the most underrated, great players in the history of the game of baseball. No one ever talks about Stan Musial. Phenomenal player.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he was in St. Louis, kind of not Mr. Wow.
They were certainly good.
Yeah, they were really good, but he was a very modest dude. He wasn't like Mickey Mantle running around New York getting sloshed or anything, or Babe Ruth.
Yeah,
or
the St. Louis Post-Dispatch doesn't have the coverage that New York Times and New York Post had back in the day.
But he was, I mean, you look at Stan Musial's stats, if you're just bored, you'll go, oh my God, this guy was unbelievable.
Well, I'm going to show our age because you remember all the great visits that Bob Uecker had with Johnny Carson. I remember one time he just and it wasn't even all that funny; it just made me laugh. But you know, Johnny's razzing Ueck about his career, and he's like, "Oh no, you know, John, they built a statue out front of Busch Stadium of me. They spelled my name wrong. They spelled it Musiial. I never could figure that out. And then Ed and Johnny thought it was hilarious. You know,
I love Uecker on
it's more like the delivery, but it was great.
Still
but he was just deadpanning. He's
so
like, they spelled my
good.
name wrong.
He was so good. This day, 1973, Secretariat wins the Preakness. Wonder ever happened there. 1974, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies, won the Stanley Cup. They beat the Bruins 1-0 and put 10 Bruins in the hospital.
Sure. That all?
Yeah, that's it. Stanley Cup final. Wayne Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers beat the New York Islanders. They won that series.
Yeah, that was back when the Islanders either won it or lost it.
That was the end of the Islander dynasty coming there.
They also didn't they win 4 straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the year before, one of the years before that, they swept Edmonton.
Yeah.
The young Oilers, and the Oilers got their revenge,
Yeah.
I believe, that year. And Spectacular Bid won the Preakness this day in 1979.
All right.
And I think there's one more in here. Where's it at? Oh, I'll give you a good one. UEFA Champions League final. Chelsea beat Bayern Munich.
Gross,
Bayern
man.
Munich
That's not a good one. Gross. Nobody wants to
You
hear
don't
about
like that?
Chelsea doing
You don't like that?
anything. No,
You don't
unless
like
they
that?
fold.
I thought you loved that.
Hour 2 coming up.
All right. As you get older, it just might not have that same oomph, energy, excitement, zest for life, call it whatever you want, that you did when you were younger. It goes from, honey, let's go somewhere, let's do something. Come on, it's a weekend. To, she walks in and looks at you, honey, you gonna go off the couch at any point in time this weekend? You got that bleh. You don't know why, you just do. Find out what it is. 803-875-MENS, the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Give the folks a call. Dr. Dan and the staff will sit and talk with you. You tell them your story. They'll do a testosterone test, and they'll put a program together to get you back feeling like you again. Get that spark back, that zest, that, in your life. Call the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, 803-875-MENS.
4 o'clock on this Tuesday. Welcome back in. Second hour of the post-game show coming at you from the Herndon Chevy Studios in downtown Columbia, South Carolina, alongside Terry Ford. I'm Jay Phillips. Appreciate you being with us. Gamecock baseball is coming your way later.
Yeah.
Again, scheduled for 5:30 first pitch, 5:15 airtime. The 5:15 airtime will happen.
Well, that happens,
Yes,
right.
that will be the network join with Derek and Cade on site in Hoover, where, well, actually, they're in commercial break right now, so I can't give you the specifics. But Kentucky leads
Kentucky scored again. It was 3-0.
3-0? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So we'll get into to more Gamecock baseball for you here in just a second. Also coming up this hour, the NCAA is under assault again in different ways. First, in D.C., the SCORE Act. This is the bill in the House that would like to, codify into law the ability for kids to get name, image, likeness payments, make sure that some of the health care issues, both physical and mental health, are completely taken care of while they're athletes, and a few other things to look after them. But at the same time, codify into law the ability for the NCAA to not have these young men and women become employees of their schools, and thus be able to get a couple of antitrust exemptions, and in a lot of ways, in a lot of people's minds, go back to where we were.
Well, where the NCAA would love it.
Yeah, but depending on one's point of view, it's good news or bad news, but the SCORE Act is not coming to the House floor for a vote.
No.
It is not going to make it I won't get into all the details, but suffice it to say that, and I saw Ben Portnoy tweeting about this, Terry, with one congresswoman saying in so many words, what has basically happened is that members of both parties that are more galvanized behind the students are going to make sure this isn't going to hit, because this just isn't what we're looking for here, and that they don't want to go back to the status quo. So.
No, and that's what the NCAA wants. They want Congress to do their heavy lifting and their dirty work to get them back to where they used to be, where they had control of everything, and these students were, basically they could tell the students what to do, where you can transfer, when you can, what you can do. We have this thing called antitrust exemption. Now we can put all the old stuff into place again, and nobody can touch us. And that's just a load of crap.
Again, it's just in the modern world, it's not going to pass.
No, because again,
they know this.
How many times
they know this.
have we said this? That there is no way you're going to get enough votes on Capitol Hill, because you have people up there who are very pro-labor, people there who are very pro-worker, and that's really what they look at these college students. They're laborers and workers for the universities, and they're finally getting rights that a lot of people on Capitol Hill thought they should have had years ago.
Yeah, and even if you get, and they could, in political terms, bump up right against it in terms, because the majority in both sides of Congress is so thin. But again, this has to get through the House and then go to the Senate. And even if the Senate has enough votes, on a straight vote line, the Senate has the filibuster. And there have already been senators that have promised
they will filibuster
this thing. Like the point is, as the SCORE Act is currently written, it's just not going to pass.
The only hope you have is you take it back to the drawing board and do enough. We see this all the time in politics. You take it back to the drawing board and say, okay, how can we make this more bipartisan to make everybody at least a little bit happy so we can get this thing through? It might not be what we want, but it'll be better than nothing.
And Senators Cruz and Cantwell, Cruz a Republican, Cantwell a Democrat, they're trying in the Senate. It's got to get to the Senate.
Right, and I just
that's the thing. It's got to get to the Senate.
I just don't think it ever makes it.
And so this version isn't gonna. And then even then, Terry, and I'm not trying to be Mr. Civics here, but then they'll change it in the Senate, and then guess what? It goes back to
the House.
And don't forget too, it doesn't just go back to the floor.
No.
It goes back to committee.
Right.
It's again, they got to write a better bill.
Right, or you got to understand something. You're not going to get help from Congress. Stop it. Quit. That's their answer to everything with the NCAA and the powers that be in the NCAA.
Yeah, fix your own problem.
Well, you know what? Go clean up your own house.
Yeah.
You're the one ready. You're the one that dirtied the house, boy. Go clean it up yourself.
Yeah.
We ain't coming in there. We didn't make that mess. So again, there's no simple solution. But the thing you need to do, you want to say it with me?
Yeah.
Collectively bargain. Yeah. And look, I've said this a lot, and they'll never, ever admit this. Even if we gave them the Meet the Parents Truth Serum, they'll never look at you and go, we're not going to negotiate with a bunch of kids. Because that's really what you understand. We're educators. Oh, God, we're presidents of universities. We're not going to sit down with the hired help and negotiate with them, Jay Phillips.
And look, I get where they want to come from. But again, the world has changed. You can't, if they're making millions for you and with you,
and
you can't treat them.
You can't treat them
the
like
way you used to.
Yeah, and you can't. And with that whole, I love this one too. With the whole thing of we're protecting you. Yeah. We're protecting you from you. Because you know what? You're young and stupid. Because there's nobody 40 years old who blows their money, Jay.
No.
We're protecting you young ones from yourselves while we pocket all the money.
Right.
It's such a crew of hypocrites that I love when they lose. I do. I enjoy it because you're going to have to sit down and hammer out something with these players and with all the powers that be, some kind of agreement. Again, we've said this. There are models out there, Jay, if you want to really do this. The Screen Actors Guild. A lot of people talk about the Screen Actors Guild model. They're independent contractors who are unionized. They're not employees of any of these big Hollywood entities. They are independent contractors who are also unionized.
Yeah.
There are ways to do this, my brother.
There are.
It's just the NCAA doesn't want to do it.
And the schools could still benefit. But anyway, the SCORE Act, again, it moved farther than it has in previous iterations. But as of now, it's not dead.
No.
But it's on some form of life support.
It's on life support, and they pushed into another room.
That's basically what they did, is push it into another room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. There are a couple of other things that we'll get to a little bit later on because we want to get into some Gamecock baseball, but they involve challenges to eligibility rules. The first one is going to be R.J. Luis, the former Big East Player of the Year with St. John's a couple of seasons ago, was a second-team All-American, was Big East MVP, and went into the draft. Was taken by Boston, but never played for the Celtics. Did a little G-leaguing, did a little two-way contract. It wasn't working out. I think he got traded, right?
Yeah, he did.
I forget to whom. It's just not working out as it stands for him in the NBA or really G-League. So he now wants to go play for LSU. Well, we've already seen Charles Bediako have his case denied. Remember, there was a judge, that's the Alabama player, judge back in January, gave Bediako a temporary restraining order, and he played a couple of games. But then they filed for an injunction that would basically have let him finish the year because they don't care about a trial. They just want an injunction.
So he can play.
Yeah,
right.
And because the trial will take forever before you actually, you got to go through all the processes before you actually ever get to court. And those guys don't care about it, whether it goes to, they'll as soon as the season ends, they'll pull the lawsuit.
Right, they're done.
But a judge in Alabama a couple of weeks after that temporary restraining order denied the injunction, and Bediako was out of luck. Joey Aguilar went through something very similar in Knoxville, and you file these things in friendly courts.
Sure, you know where this one's getting filed?
Yeah, now the Luis case hasn't gone to court yet.
Not that one. There's another one the other day. Sorsby was filed.
Well, Sorsby is the one, and that's the one. Now, the Brendan Sorsby, and we'll talk more about that one coming up in about 20 minutes, because that one's got a lot more relevance in terms of the coming season. With basketball, you've got a few extra months. But, yeah, Brendan Sorsby is the third, and they have his attorneys, and he's got high-powered attorneys, including Jeffrey Kessler, who was, again, has fought the NCAA many times through the decades.
Yeah.
But they have filed for an injunction in Lubbock.
Right.
With a judge who has 2 degrees from Texas Tech and has lived out that way. Now, I know on the one hand that doesn't look good. But on the other, for instance, Terry, and this doesn't mean there's anything that's gonna matter in the same way, but the judge in Knoxville that heard the Aguilar case a couple months ago, had his bachelor's and law degree from UT Knoxville,
right?
And he ruled very harshly, actually, against Joey Aguilar.
They were like,
Joey, they got rules, man, and you can see the rules.
Right.
And I don't know. I can't help you. Same thing with the judge in Alabama. That judge went to Bama, and people were like, "Oh yeah," And I get why there's cynicism.
Sure.
But the judge in Alabama also said the rules stay if you go pro, you can't play. Like, what do you want me to do? This is not up to me.
Right.
These are the rules.
Same thing with this R.J. Luis thing. Is, dude, you left. You weren't drafted. You got a two-way contract. I think with the let me look up real quick. With the Jazz, got traded to the Celtics, never played in the league. But, bro, you're a professional.
Yeah, you signed a contract.
And I'm sorry. And, look, if the people that are pushing back on this say, well, the rules are different for the European players, well, why don't you make a uniform rule? I got a great idea, Jay.
Right.
Why don't we make a uniform rule?
Don't like the rule, change the rule. Until we say that about all kinds of these rules. But until then, and I know some will say, oh, no, we're going to challenge the rule in court. Okay, and we've seen the challenge. And if you're wondering, for instance, like the Trinidad Chambliss case had more to do, in that judge's opinion, and I get it, with the application of the medical hardship waivers.
Right. That's where that was coming from.
Not about the eligibility clock expiring, or in the Aguilar case, the clock expiring, or in the Bediako case, dude, you're pro.
You're pro.
I can't help you.
For a couple years.
You chose to turn pro. And the same thing with Luis. You chose to turn pro. Nobody said you must turn pro now. You had a year or two of eligibility left. You decided to go into the draft. You decided to sign a contract. So I get it. And that's why I think the Luis case. Now, the case, and again, we'll talk about it coming up at 4:30 with Sorsby. That's a different animal, man. And I don't have time in the next couple of minutes to get into that one. But as we said, the NCAA kind of under assault from three different angles. And I'm not here to defend the NCAA either, but it's interesting how when you think you've had a couple of wins, you get this. But on the other side, we got into some of it last hour. I want to come back around to it. But some local and national reporting on the leading candidates for the Gamecock baseball team. We'll touch on that for you, including what we may think of them when the postgame show returns. .91 degrees across the Midlands right now, maybe even a little hotter in your neck of the woods. And if you listen closely, especially, this time of day, yeah, you hear that? You hear that in your neighborhood? That's some of your friends and neighbors in their backyard pool, and you don't have one. And I'm not trying to make you jealous, all right? And neither are the great folks at Griffin Pools and Spas. What they're trying to do is give you what you want, and that's your own backyard pool. They've been doing this all across the greater Columbia area since 1976. Custom pool design. They're experts at doing this, so that means they can get the job done on time, minimizing the disruption to your life. 'Cause let's face it, it is a little disruptive while they're doing it and digging a big hole in your backyard. But then look what happens at the end of it all, right? You have that pool of your dreams. Griffin Pools and Spas, experts at it. Call them up or go see them on North Lake Drive, 957-2121. Learn more about what they do at griffinpoolsandspas.com. 4:17 here on this Tuesday. Welcome back in. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford. I'm going to be turning it over to Terry for the next 5 or 6 minutes as I watch the conclusion of the Manchester City-Bournemouth game, because if it holds as is, then Arsenal are going to win the Premier League title. And they just hit the post. That ball had gone in. Bournemouth almost scored again. They hit the post. I don't need that. I don't need this, Terry Ford. I just need it to be more straightforward.
You handle it well, though.
Thanks. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best.
Great job.
Gamecock baseball fans have, I suppose, handled these last couple of seasons as well as they could. There are some who are a lot angrier than others, and you should be. You should be. Certainly disappointed. Angry, I get. But now the bulk of our attention, obviously, it turns to who's next. The Gamecocks do have a game today. If you win, you'll have at least 2 more. I understand these things. I'm not trying to rush anybody's life away, but we're just calling it like we see it. That said, Pete Nakos, national college sports reporter for On3, says he's been talking to some of the national folks. And we're not going to get into all the names. He has 5 or 6 on his list. It feels, and we asked this of Jack Veltri, and I think some others have talked about it, but Kevin Schnall of Coastal and Dan Fitzgerald of Kansas feel like they're emerging as the top guys. And there are differences there. There are similarities. There are reasons that you could feel good about both. There may be reasons that you have trepidation on both, and because you're not going to go. Listen, as we've said, you're not going to go get Jay Johnson to come over here from LSU. You're not getting Dave Van Horn from Arkansas. And I know, Terry, you've even talked about maybe Kevin O'Sullivan coming up from Gainesville.
Does he break away from?
And I just think that ship has probably you had the opportunity. That might have been close to happening. What, 9 years ago? Yeah. And as we joked with a few, and then he up and won the World Series, and you can't leave now. We don't know that it was going to be, if you don't win the World Series, you're coming to Columbia. We don't know that, but we do know that those discussions were advanced.
I feel like now I've just been seeing some things that he's been there for a long time. He's been very successful.
Yes.
He's also a guy that can grate on you probably after a period of time.
We saw last year.
Yeah, we saw that ridiculousness last year.
Yeah, that was in Conway.
Yes, it was. There are people that are thinking that it could be like Florida sitting in the living room watching TV, Kevin O'Sullivan is upstairs watching TV, and they only talk when they're in the kitchen getting something out of the refrigerator.
Could be.
And if that is true, maybe there is we're just tired of each other. Let's go move in another direction. Now, that's the one thing I read could be a possibility. But, again, Florida was really good this year, Jay.
Yeah.
And they could do some damage. And the last thing you want if you're the university is having that conversation with the guy who just went to Omaha again.
Right.
So I don't think he's going to leave. I think, like I say, if this was like an underwhelming kind of year like LSU's having, for an example, maybe you have a different thing where you go, you know what?
But then you're hiring from a weird position.
Yes.
And we've also talked about names like Wes Johnson or Nick Mingione. And those names are not emerging during these conversations.
Can I ask you a question?
We're not hearing Tom Walter again.
Let's focus on Nick for a minute. Because I'm with you. I think the Walter thing a couple years ago, maybe Walter's like, or maybe people are looking at his record and going, what's happening, which to me is it's very simple. He can't pay us enough money to get players like other people can. But let's go to Nick at Kentucky. He's making a little bit over $1 million.
Yep.
He would get paid more here.
Yep.
He'd get better resources here. Look, Kentucky's like 23rd, 24th, or 25th in operational budget, but South Carolina's 7th.
Yeah.
So you get more money in your bank account. You get resources that you're not going to get at Kentucky. But you don't hear his name at all.
No. And I think, he may be
maybe
extremely
Jeremiah
happy.
Gennady who's not interested. I don't know.
I don't know.
But
I don't know. Again, having an ability to flesh this out, during the season with agents, and the agent can always talk to the client.
Sure.
Just real quick, hey, South Carolina's interested. All right, well, tell them we'll listen.
Nick made it to Omaha a couple years ago.
I'm good.
Nick is
It's not hard to do.
We forget that Nick got to Omaha a couple years ago with Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm using him as an example of here's a coach who checks a box that we've talked about. You've been to the College World Series. He's coaching the SEC, so he knows the lay of the land. He's been successful at a place that, goes, okay, great, you're successful, but we're not bleeding baseball. You would think that's the kind of guy that would be possibly a good match to a school that wants to get back to Omaha. And you find a guy that has done it in a place where you think you are better in a lot of things than when it comes to baseball than they'd ever want to be or care to be. Mm-hmm. But that's not a name. You're not hearing names.
No,
like
you're
that.
just not. You're not hearing them.
Can I throw this at you? Do you think it's like we talk about with North Carolina basketball? Just the world has changed because of NIL and transfer portals, and do you sit back and go, I got it pretty good where I'm at, and they're paying me pretty well, and I can be successful here, but I don't have crazy expectations and this and that and the other, and I just kind of like my life in this lane? Because North Carolina ran into that with the coaches. They were chasing big dogs too.
Yeah. Look,
you know what I'm saying?
I do, and I can appreciate the similarities, and I can't answer specifically because I don't know what's in their heads. And we didn't actually hear that from Tommy Lloyd at Arizona or Dusty May at Michigan. Now look, Dusty pulled to Kevin O'Sullivan, went and won the dadgum championship. So you're not moving
here's
now.
The thing. The word was he wasn't interested before.
Yeah, and look, Michigan's got everything you need.
I guess my point, those places aren't North Carolina.
Right. Well, and I don't know that, look, I don't know if we can paint North Carolina basketball and South Carolina baseball on the exact same plane.
But for a baseball perspective, this has been a successful program for decades here. I just think
I get where you're coming from, and I think that's a plausible.
I think my point is it's not a South Carolina thing or a North Carolina thing. I think maybe because college athletics has changed so much, maybe the way these guys think has changed. Where instead of I got to have the blue blood job,
right.
Wait a minute, I'm getting paid really well here. I can win here and be successful, but I don't have to worry about a food taster if I go on a 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's quite that. I think there's going to be enough grace given to the next head coach
here. Yes.
In Chapel Hill, perhaps not. My hunch is that Jeremiah has cast his net quite literally across the country, and what has come back is where he's going to point, and that these, because again, we talk as much about agents putting their guy out there. Mm-hmm. We don't talk as much about the agent pulling their guy back.
Exactly.
And so for Dan Fitzgerald, for Kevin Schnall, for James Ramsey, and a few others, their names are still out there. But I feel like we'd have heard some of the others. So
I agree 100%.
But as we look now, and let's focus in on those names that are apparently at the top of the list, with the caveat that all things can change. If you're down to Fitzgerald and Schnall, mm-hmm. I'd like to know at that point what factors Jeremiah will be looking at to make the first offer. Because as we know, mm-hmm. And this is the way the game is played, yep. You can always say, well, there was never an offer made. It's right. Hey, if this is what your contract looked like, and if this is what we would do for the program mm-hmm. and at the facility and with the budget, would you take the job?
Right. Absolutely.
And then you send it back to him, right? It's not an offer.
No, it's
a hypothetical.
What if? It's just what if. We're just talking.
I come back to one of the points you've been making, because I don't, with Kevin Schnall, look, he knows this area like the back of his hand, because mm-hmm. he's been in South Carolina for decades.
Yep.
That matters a lot.
Sure.
But he's only been a head coach for less than 2 years.
Yep.
And he took over a hell of a program.
Yep.
Dan Fitzgerald, conversely, has come up through the ranks, has spent a little bit of time with Jay Johnson at LSU.
He knows the SEC.
That matters. Mm-hmm. But he has built
Kansas
into the Big 12 champion. And y'all, if you follow enough college baseball, the Big 12 is a great baseball. It's not a good baseball conference. It's great. TCU, Baylor, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. These, now you're looking at what West Virginia is doing, but these are really good baseball programs.
Yes.
And Arizona, the two Arizonas are now in the Big 12, and they play great baseball. And Kansas has won it, and I think they finished second last year. He's so that feels like, and I'm not trying to say so. Therefore, Fitzgerald's better than Schnall.
No, it's just.
But he's built, and again, sadly, unfortunately, however you want to look at it, South Carolina has to have that now. This is not come in and slap some paint on the wall. This is kind of like, you know what, we got to rip the walls out a little bit. We don't have to tear the whole house down, but we're going to have to do some renovating around here because you had the last guy come in and it went from to oh my God.
Let's put it this way. To give you an idea about what Dan Fitzgerald did at Kansas, not only did he build a house, but he had to clean out, a very, very bad lot to build the house in. Kansas baseball has not had a 500 conference. They have not had a winning conference mark since 2014. Had not won more than 35 games, or really hadn't won anywhere close, because Fitzgerald won 43 games this year. The last time Kansas did that was 2006. They have not been a player in the Big 12 or wherever they've been in a long time.
Haven't won a conference title since the 40s. Haven't been to Omaha since 1993.
Exactly. They are, put it this way, Fitzgerald won 20 games this year in conference play, 15 his first year, his second year. Before that, 3 years combined, they had won 32. Yeah. I mean, so we're talking about build. This dude's a builder, Jay.
Yeah.
What he did at Kansas. That's why look, if they hire Kevin Shaw tomorrow, all right, great, wonderful. I'm not against it.
Yeah, I'm not against it at all.
But if I got to pick one of the two and you're saying I got to pick one, I'd pick Fitzgerald.
I feel like I'm leaning Fitzgerald.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We'll stay in the Big 12 on the other side, but we'll get into a just almost surreal story with what's happening with Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby and what he has said about himself and where this may go next. You're listening to the postgame show.
Quick check on the traffic. Our first one of the afternoon. Couple accidents. 77 northbound's become a mess. 77 northbound at Alexander's Bridge. Also 77 northbound at US 21 and 77 southbound at Killian Road. So you got issues at exit 22 and 24. So maybe find another way around. Stay away from that area of 77 northbound. And obviously the typical road construction going on in the area as well. We'll get back, talk about the Brendan Sorsby issue at Texas Tech, and get you ready for Carolina baseball at 5:15 from Hoover.
All right, 4:35 here on a Tuesday afternoon. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. I won't dwell, but Arsenal are the Premier League champions. And I'm being very professional right now.
I know. I'm really
I would just as soon
impressed with you.
Be running around, kicking and screaming, telling Terry that I might have a fractured ulna. I'm going to have to forfeit the rest of the show. If you know Caddyshack, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you should watch Caddyshack because it'll change your life. But I'm not. I'm here. I'm a pro, and I'm going to talk about college football while knowing full well that Arsenal just won their first championship in 22 years.
So, I mean, you like to go, streaking outside your
And I will.
way in
Don't you worry.
happiness.
Don't you worry.
You will at 5:15?
Yeah, when you have another traffic report. Oh, you won't? Well,
Oh, yeah, 5 o'clock, man.
yeah,
We got
okay.
one more.
Well, I'll see what I can do and see if I can't stop traffic out front.
Who's the weird guy wearing nothing but Arsenal socks?
That's right. That's right.
Running around Gervais.
That's right. Anyway, so let's get serious. I don't know where this is going to go next, but I know where they want it to go. But Brendan Sorsby is the quarterback at Texas Tech. You've heard by now that he was the kid, just turned 21 in January, has been basically busted for gambling, including betting on his own team while he was a backup quarterback at Indiana. He has now released a statement. And I'm not going to read the entire thing, but in it, what he basically said was, yes, I bet on Indiana football, but I did it because for the first time in my life, after coming out of high school, I wasn't part of the team. I was on the team, but I was redshirting and I couldn't play. And so I would place bets of between $5 and $50 on Indiana to win, on one of my fellow quarterbacks to throw for a certain number of yards or a certain number of touchdowns. And I did it because I thought it would make me part of the team, that I would have more investment in the team. And he basically said, we weren't very good that year, and I lost almost all my bets. Oh, okay, dude. Okay. Mm-hmm. But that being said, you can't do that and get away with it if you get caught.
I got a question. Are there rules?
There are rules, and that's the number one cardinal sin in sports. Mm-hmm. You can't bet on your own team. No. It's just, and everybody that's a sports fan knows this. Mm-hmm. Everybody that plays knows this.
I got a question. Is Brendan Sorsby the first player ever to come from high school where he felt like a part of a team and come somewhere as a freshman, not knowing anybody?
A lot of red shirts out there, Terry. In every sport.
Yeah.
Every sport.
Because and first of all, there's rule 2. I'm going to stand up here on the video. You can see I'm going to get up on here because it's so deep in here and so smelly. I got to get up out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to be cold. Does it suck that this guy fell into what people can fall into and you just become addicted to anything? I feel bad for people.
Yeah.
But let me put that aside for a minute.
Okay.
Come on, dude. Stop it.
Look,
stop that. Don't treat me like I am. I was born in the dark, but it wasn't last night. Wasn't that a song?
I think it's what do we say a lot of times? That two things, or in this case, perhaps 3, 4, 5, 6 things can be true at once with an individual case and situation. I'm not, and you're not either. I'm not going to, because now, too, if you haven't seen more of this, Sorsby and his attorneys have basically said that he has indeed been diagnosed with a severe gambling problem that they are labeling as a mental health issue. Okay, I don't think he's lying, because he's made more than 10,000 bets, and he's got a problem.
He's bet on goofy stuff.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, and I'm not making light of it, and I'm not trying to push it to the side or anything. And I know you're not either, Tara, but he's got a problem, and he needs to get that fixed.
Mm-hmm.
But admitting as much does not absolve you of the rules that you have already broken, especially, again, that most cardinal of rules, which is you bet on your own team. Secondly, his attorneys, in some way, shape, or form, are attempting to paint him as a victim of the circumstances the NCAA. And I've seen a lot of fans on Twitter and stuff saying, well, yeah, you're going to punish a kid for gambling while you make money off of it. Look, I don't like some of the things they're doing with gambling either. And again, I'm not against gambling. I'm not, certainly on any kind of moral ground. It's your money. If you want to lose it, go ahead, because chances are pretty good you're going to lose your money. That's the way it works. But again, look, if he wants to go bet on the NBA, if he wants to go bet on the NFL, hell, if he wants to bet, what was it? They said like the Romanian soccer league or some crap.
He was out there. He was betting on cricket. And
I mean, if you wanted to go, okay, but you can't bet on your own team.
No,
you can't do
that.
it. And so they're basically saying that he's a victim because they haven't done enough, the NCAA, to take care of him. Well, I don't. Did they know until the last couple of months? I mean, basically, his own school wasn't notified of an investigation until early April.
And the word is maybe his other school knew, and obviously they were hiding it because they needed him to play, and he had signed an NIL deal.
Yeah.
So, look,
and they didn't want to get popped for knowing and covering it up.
So, look, here's the thing. Kid's got a problem. He's got to do something about it. That's number one before any of this. Kid's got a problem. Two, you broke a rule you knew you couldn't break, and no matter what your reasoning behind it, you broke the rule. And this goes back to the heart of everything. We need to know these games are on the up and up and legit. We need to know that competition is competition. We've got to know that these games are being played the way we believe they're being played as fans. And the minute you start screwing with that, you take away what you did. Guess what we do? Everybody starts to lean over to the that dude wearing his tinfoil helmet that thinks everything's fixed, because some of this comes out and people go, see, told you it's fixed. You cannot have that. If you bet on your own team, I'm sorry, man. Have a good life.
Yeah.
Get help. We want to see you get help. Get yourself together.
That's the first thing. He clearly needs
help. What he was doing is someone who is purely got a gambling problem. But you broke a rule, and you knew it was a rule before you broke it, because everybody knows that rule.
Everybody knows before you ever step foot.
You can't play.
Yeah.
And my other part of this, look, I was a little surprised that they're going the mental health route. And I was a little surprised they're going the route, well, the NCAA makes money off gambling. You can't kick someone out for gambling when you're making money on gambling. No, that's not the way the world works.
Right.
There are a lot of people who make money on a certain thing, but you can't do that thing at your job. That's, again, if you don't like it, don't work there. Or don't stay there.
Well, I would imagine, and now I am going to be a little bit cynical and flip it to make a point. I imagine that the people at the Jack Daniel's distillery that work there would like their employees to enjoy the product on their off time.
Well, I was getting
They don't want you at work drunk.
Ready? That's like saying, okay, you can't throw me off the team for drinking and driving because you sell beer at the arena.
Yeah.
The world doesn't work that way, man.
It doesn't.
So I'm sorry. And you nailed it. We can feel bad for you because you have a problem and we want to see you get better. But the rest of this, I'm not going down pity highway, Jay, on this. You broke a rule you knew would ban you from playing, and you did it anyway.
And now his attorneys, if you haven't heard, and we'll get, and we just got about a minute left here in this segment, they're gonna file for an injunction against the NCAA. They don't care if it goes to trial because by the time it would go to trial, the season would be over at the end of this year. A trial would take, be at least a year before it ever went to trial. They don't care about that. Otherwise, he has until June 22nd to enter the NFL supplemental draft, and then the NFL will have to say, all right, yeah, we'll have one. So he's got about a month for that. His attorneys are saying that they have already filed for reinstatement and that the NCAA rejected it. The NCAA has come out publicly saying they have not even received a reinstatement offer or request. There's also a report out there that says that the Sorsby side of things has offered a 2-game suspension as punishment. The NCAA says, well, we wouldn't comment on that anyway. And that could be a negotiating point. Hey, we offered 2. We'll take 4.
Right.
The NCAA is going to hold to nope. The way it reads, they haven't said this, but the way it reads, you bet on your own team, man.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but you also went way above the threshold of money that you can bet on college sports, which is also against the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's rules for a reason.
Yeah.
The integrity of the game matters. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It just does.
So, this isn't over yet, but it's getting dicey over in Lubbock, Texas, and Indianapolis. All right, we'll come back on the other side with a little Jay or Nay. You're listening to the postgame show. All right, welcome back in. 11 minutes in front of 5 o'clock here on this Tuesday afternoon. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you. Gamecock baseball coming your way at 5:15, a 5:30 scheduled first pitch. We may bump a little bit past that. We're in the bottom of the 6th right now, Vandy, Kentucky in game 2 of the day. And we'll have full scoreboard results for you coming up in the top of the hour headlines, which may include Arsenal winning the Premier League title. Which they did today, Terry Ford. I don't know if you've heard that.
No, I haven't heard about that.
Yeah,
Jay.
how about that? And also, I was shocked while I was gone to hear that Aaron Rodgers is going to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I know, stunning.
Why are we? I know you got Jay or Nay here. Maybe you want to include Aaron Rodgers in that.
Sure.
I have no idea if you do or don't. But I do want to hear game show music. But if he was 32, this would be news.
Yeah.
But I saw him play a bunch last year because he plays for Pittsburgh.
He's a quarterback who's past his prime.
And I know that his new coach is his old coach and that he's more offensive-minded, but I'm going to do it again, Ter.
Yeah. Look, Aaron Rodgers is he's just a jag at this point. Just another guy. He's not Aaron Rodgers anymore. The only thing that makes this a story is because the name on it, right? If this was Jacoby Brissett, nobody bat an eye, and they're kind of like almost.
He's holding out.
How funny is that, by the way? The Arizona Jacoby Brissett has forgotten he's Jacoby Brissett. He's like sitting there going, "I'm going to hold out." If you're the Arizona Cardinals, are you going seriously? We have hit rock bottom. Jacoby Brissett is holding out. Honestly, what have we done here?
Where's Anthony Richardson? He got cut, right? Go get him. I mean, I'm laughing again, but when I saw that, I had to double check. Like, we are talking about that Jacoby Brissett, right?
When I saw it, I laughed out loud.
Yeah,
I think everybody except the Cardinals is laughing out loud at that. But going back to Rodgers,
okay.
I mean, look, here's the saddest part of this, though. Look at that quarterback room: Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, Drew Aller, and then you go, you know what? 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers is a better option.
And look, maybe he has a heck of a year. I don't know, but he doesn't look like what Tom Brady was doing, and he doesn't have the pieces around him that Tom Brady had.
No, I think this is what happens to you, Jay, when you can't get the quarterback correct. This is what happens to you.
Yeah.
And this is why, again, teams scramble to get franchise quarterbacks because now you're stuck in the let's go get the past his prime guy. Let's draft that one guy in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. Hopefully we get a Brock Purdy, Tom Brady. I mean, everything is throwing crap against the wall and see if it sticks and smells at this point.
Yeah.
And the Steelers, again, you didn't have the next guy up. Or you reach and draft a Kenny Pickett in the first round.
Yeah. I'm not sure you had the next guy for the next guy.
No, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
So, this is just that cautionary tale when you can't get the quarterback right. Everything just goes sideways.
All right, what do we got here?
Now, let's see. Jay or nay? Jackson Smith-Njigba gets his trophy for being the Offensive Player of the Year.
Or...
Now, first of all, the way it's put together, the year is one word.
I saw that.
But second and more important, Jackson Smith-Njigba gets the AP 2025 Defensive Player of the Year trophy in the mail.
I really don't know how you screw that up. I honest to God don't know how you screw.
Someone needs fired in the NFL office.
Well, if not fired, reassigned. Something. And do you not? That's an important trophy.
Yeah, you're the offensive player
are you
of the
not?
year.
Did you look at it?
That's
it's
my
like
point.
Proofreading a book.
How many people had their hands on this thing before it got to the point it got mailed?
Did you? I mean, seriously.
Like my kids would say, epic fail.
I mean, did you have like your kid at home on his printer just stick something on there and nobody? I mean,
it's incredible. It felt like somebody from the Baltimore County school system engraved it.
Yeah,
I was in the Baltimore County school system. This guy was sitting next to me.
I don't know.
It could have been me, matter of fact.
But Jay, somebody needs to either be fired or again at worst reassigned. Yeah.
One more NFL.
Yeah.
In the wow, you're not very bright department. Kansas City Chief receiver Rashid Rice has been sentenced to serve 30 days in jail after testing positive for marijuana in a violation of the terms of probation for his role in a crash that left multiple people injured 2 years ago. Basically, if you don't test positive for marijuana, you're going to be on probation.
Yeah.
If you test positive, you go to jail.
Yeah.
Our boy Rashid Rice likes the weed so much, he couldn't stay away from it, so he could go test clean to stay out of prison.
And what does that say to the Hunt family and to Andy Reid?
So you say, Jay or nay, Kansas City, you have a Rashid Rice problem.
Jay.
Look, man.
That's not. Again, I'm not here to judge your life.
Me either.
But just like you got to follow the rules.
Look, man, you do
or
you.
pay the consequence.
You can't look. There's a window for taking a drug test to where you can be clean, and you just have to know when to stop partaking.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, I've never obviously taken one.
Well, good luck to him. All right, headlines of the day coming up.
Oh, stop and go traffic. 77 southbound. That's between Lancaster Highway and Old Richburg Road if you're heading toward the Charlotte area. 77 northbound around Columbia, we have an accident. 77 northbound at US 21, that's exit 24. Or northbound, I should say. And then southbound, Killian Road, exit 22. There's an accident. So both sides of 77, right around exits 22 to 24, there's an accident. Also, Columbia Highway near Jake Knott's Bridge. We'll pop back, get you the 5 o'clock news, and then Carolina baseball in Hoover. Coverage starts at 5:15.
It is indeed 5 o'clock news time on this Friday final hour of the postgame show, an abbreviated hour as we will make way shortly for Carolina baseball. That's where we'll start today. The Gamecocks open postseason play. Could be today only. If they win today, then they'll have at least 2 more games at the SEC tournament in Hoover. Gamecocks and the Tennessee Volunteers scheduled for 5:30. That's not going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and tell you all that. We are currently in the bottom of the 6th in game 2 of the day with Vandy and Kentucky going at it. And we're at 4-4 right now. 2 on, 2 out. Actually, Vandy has just gone ahead, just as I tell you this. Okay, they've gone ahead 5-4. Still 2 on, 2 out, bottom 6.
I don't think baseball's starting at
So they are, and again, there'll be about 30 minutes in between games. So we may have some bonus SEC coverage for you, but we'll give way to the network coming up here in about 15 minutes' time. Anyway, Brandon Stone will go for Carolina today. The junior righty is 5-4. Been Carolina's probably most reliable pitcher. He and Ant Phillips over the course of the regular season. 5-4 with a 4.64 and 66 innings pitched, 55 strikeouts to 19 walks. Cam Appenzeller is a freshman lefty for the Vols. He's had a good year, at least in a lot of ways, 5-1, but with a 4.84 ERA.
I'll tell you, Monty talked about him.
Yeah.
You want to hear that real quick here in a second?
Yeah, let me finish his stats, and then I'll let you. Yeah, again, 4.84, 48 and a third, 54 strikeouts, and just 12 walks for the freshman lefty. And, yeah, here is the Gamecock head coach scouting.
Let's get that really quick, talking about Tennessee and the freshman pitcher.
Well, we know the starting pitcher quite well. He was actually verbally committed to South Carolina for quite some time. Cameron Appenzeller, one of the most talented freshmen in the SEC, lefty. He's going to run it up there in the low 90s, may get it a clip higher than that. He's had a fantastic season. And Tennessee's a really offensive ball club, fairly right-handed lineup.
There you go, a little Monty about that, but really focusing on the young pitcher was a verbal to South Carolina.
Don't want to. I don't know how that all. I don't know if that was part of the culling of the recruiting class. If you follow me,
it could be,
or if they're just ultimately, Tennessee came in with a better offer.
And that could be it too.
I don't know. I don't want to, and I'm not. I don't know. I'm not trying to suggest one over another. I don't know, but Cam Appenzeller has had a solid season. 4.84 is a little high, but 54 strikeouts and 48.
Young freshman, learning and feeling his way through. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But again, Gamecocks and Vols in a play-in game. That's what this opening round is. Again, this is not double elim on Tuesday. The winner of tonight's game will get Arkansas tomorrow in roughly the same window. Earlier today, game 1, Missouri and Ole Miss in a slugfest. Mizzou wins that one by a count of 10-8. The 5th inning was the big one there, with a combined 9 runs scored in that one, including 5 by Missouri. So the 16-seed Mizzou, that was the best team of the round and the worst team of the round, if you will. And Mizzou finds a way to eliminate Mississippi. That won't make the fans real happy in Oxford. They were hoping for an Egg Bowl tomorrow. But now it'll be Mizzou that takes on Mississippi State. As we said, Kentucky and Vandy playing right now. The winner will get Florida. Vandy is up with the bases loaded, 5-4, bottom 6. So we got a ways to go.
And real quick, we will go to 5:15 to the network. And obviously they'll set the scene for South Carolina, Tennessee, and then you will get bonus coverage of Kentucky Vanderbilt.
Yeah, at least you'll get a good game, man. I mean, that's a good one. The winner will get Florida. And then tonight, when the Gamecocks are done, LSU will take on Oklahoma. That's number 14 LSU. That's seed, not ranking, versus number 11 seed Oklahoma. The winner will get Auburn. Georgia, of course, won the SEC a couple of weeks ago, actually. They didn't have to worry about it the final weekend of the regular season. That's how good the Dogs have been. But Georgia is the 1, Texas the 2, A&M the 3, Alabama the 4. None of them play tomorrow. They will start on Thursday and on Friday. So that's what's going on at the SEC baseball tournament. Speaking of baseball, Braves lose last night 12-0. They are losing right now 3-2 in the bottom of the third in an interesting mid-afternoon game in Miami. I don't know what the heck happened last night, man. I kind of want to say that the Braves beat the heck out of Boston on Sunday, got down to Miami late Sunday night, and decided to just go out.
You hit South Beach. You go to the birdcage, man. You're having fun.
But last night, I mean, it started ugly, and it got uglier. Man. But the Braves lost 12-0. But in that, in all seriousness, some bad news for the Braves. Drake Baldwin, the reigning Rookie of the Year, he can't win that award.
He's having a heck of a year, by the way.
He's having a fantastic season. Strained his right oblique and has gone on to the 10-day IL. That's the bad news because he is having a heck of a year. The good news is that on the day he goes down, the Braves recall Ronald Acuna from the IL, who had been out since May the 2nd. And he is back in the lineup today as the designated hitter. But again, the Braves are down 3-2. The Marlins have 2 on in the bottom of the third. And by the way, the Phillies are coming on. They've won 5 straight.
We talked about this.
And we kind of knew they would.
We knew they'd be coming at some point.
And Atlanta, I don't know. You can just start to feel a little. I mean, look, the Braves had a fine week last week. They won 4 of 6 against 2 teams that are pretty good. But after last night, that just kind of punches you in the gut. And if you don't come back and win this one today, and the Marlins just scored a 4th run, all of a sudden it creeps into your head. And look, the Braves weren't going to win 68% of their baseball games anyway. They were on pace for like 111 wins.
Right, that wasn't going to happen. But look, they're a good baseball team. You're going to go through your peaks and valleys. You know that. You just have to have a lot more valleys than more peaks than valleys. Yeah. But they're fine. They're on paper, it's a good baseball team. And as long as their pitching holds up, because I think they're going to score enough runs. Yeah. As long as their pitching continues to keep going the way it's going, they're going to be fine. Yeah, you're going to have one.
Every once in a while.
You're going to have one. My Orioles gave up 16 runs last night, sir.
Okay, well, then our 2 teams were not good yesterday.
No, they were not.
That's 28 combined.
They were
good.
not.
But I'd say we'd keep you updated throughout the afternoon, but we probably won't. So Braves are down 4-2, bottom 3, early game 2 in Miami. NBA playoffs continue tonight with the Cavaliers at the Knicks. Yeah, the Cavaliers got past the Pistons the other day. But last night we had a thriller, and I will have to admit, I don't like doing this on the air, but I'm gonna. I was so tired from a long weekend with family and graduation. I put the game on Peacock. Or whatever it was on. I forget which app. I think it was on Peacock.
Yeah, you got Peacock. It was on NBC.
Yeah, Peacock. Yeah, I thought so. And I was like, oh, this should be good. But somewhere along the way, man, I guess during a commercial, I didn't make it. When I got up, the Spurs had won in 2 OT. I was kind of mad.
Right, that's the worst thing when that happens to you.
Because I like the Spurs. I don't really have a favorite team, but ever since Tim Duncan, I've been drawn more towards the Spurs than any other team. Again, I don't really when the Hornets were doing their thing in the 90s,
you like that.
That was fun, man. And I loved going up there to went to a bunch of games. But after the whole George Shinn thing, I just kind of was like, but I like Tim Duncan, so I just gravitated.
Look, I'm going to tell you something. When you fell asleep, what Victor Wembanyama did last night, Oklahoma City's going to have to adjust a couple of things because what they did last night did not work.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to figure out what to do to look. You got to put Chet Holmgren on him a little bit. Hartenstein, he's the only really big dude that can bump him around and throw a little tough guy on him.
Sure.
You can't be afraid to go to the basket, Jay.
Right.
Because now you're cutting off 5-10 feet of the offensive area. You got to go to the basket. The old school is you get into the body of a shot blocker, get him in foul trouble. Kind of get a little physical with him. Oklahoma City last night won none of that smoke.
Well, maybe I don't know what they did or didn't see in the Minnesota series, but and again, congrats to the Spurs for the way they handled Minnesota up in the Twin Cities to get into this one. But they've done their part right now. They've turned it back to home court in San Antonio.
I'm gonna say this too: San Antonio controlled 44 of the 48 minutes of that game and kind of gacked it away at the end of regulation. So big props to hold yourself together. And what Wembanyama did, and we got to go in a minute. Wembanyama, it's 108-105. Oklahoma City's got the lead. You're down to inside a minute. That 7'4" dude pulled up at like 28 feet from the basket and banged a three.
Yeah.
And you just stopped and you went, no, good shot. And I mean, he had a night, man.
Real quick, couple of NFL notes. The owners have approved Nashville as the host of the Super Bowl in 2030. We've got Atlanta coming up, and I know we got Vegas coming up, and I'm forgetting one other one where it's going to be before that, Terry. L.A. next year. So L.A., Atlanta, Vegas, Nashville in the new stadium, and the 2028 draft has been awarded to the Twin Cities. Next year's draft will be in D.C.
There we go.
So there you go. There are a couple of NFL notes.
Nice work,
All right, we need to get out of here?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
All right, Gamecock Baseball is next, and we'll see you all tomorrow.